With hyperhidrosis, it's not only the hands and the feet and the underarms that sweat excessively. There are people who sweat on areas where they're too embarrassed to talk about. And this I'm referring to Hexel's hyperhidrosis, where you sweat on your groin and your bum, huku kwa trunk. Have you ever seen someone, mtu amesweat, unaweza dhani amejikojolea, hata akivaa jeans, ana sweat through the jeans. That is also a form of hyperhidrosis. For someone with excessive sweating to pursue a romantic relationship, you think about it a lot. And there are those who don't even speak to the people that they are pursuing or to their significant other. They don't talk about their sweat issues because hawataki, they don't want to gross them out. Now you see, now on the other side, that person is receiving you from a different perspective. And I did a good job of trying to camouflage my sweat from the rest. I never wanted anyone to notice. And it was so bad because even going to church was an issue. None of that pastor's moment of, can you hold hands together, we pray. Hey, my friend. My name is Martin Kimamo. I'm the founder of Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya. I'm a sweat consultant and I'm also a creative entrepreneur. I'm here to talk about hyperhidrosis. I know the term sounds a bit ambiguous, but hyperhidrosis simply means excessive sweating. Medically, it's defined as individuals who sweat more than normal. Excessive sweating now, which is sympathetic system, central nervous system disorder. There are two categories of sweat. There is primary focal hyperhidrosis and there is secondary generalized hyperhidrosis. Primary focal hyperhidrosis is the medical condition itself. It's relatively symmetric, meaning it affects both the left and the right hand side of the body. It has no cure or permanent solution. However, it can be managed through treatments, and the treatments vary. But before we even go to the treatment route, if we focus on the areas where the sweat is really concentrated. So you have craniofacial hyperhidrosis. This is the excessive sweating of the face and scalp. A woman who's experiencing excessive sweating of the face, do you think it's possible for them to wear makeup? And when we're talking of excessive sweating which can even move from excessive to extreme, you cannot hide that sweat. So if you're dripping with sweat puddles and then now you get triggered by anxiety, you have a job presentation or you have something that you have to do, or take someone who has craniofacial hyperhidrosis and you put them in the position I am right now for an interview. They'll be sweating profusely. Why? Because they're anxious. That anxiety is what now triggers the sweat and makes the sweat even worse. So if they cannot wear makeup, they cannot maintain the same hairstyle, the only option they have is either they twist their hair to locks, like dreadlocks, or they shave their hair. And that is craniofacial hyperhidrosis. Now let us cascade to primary focal now for the palmar, mikono, the excessive sweating of the palms. It's easy for you to operate your smartphone. Take out your smartphone, you key in your passcode, or you use your biometric. With excessive sweating, how are you going to even, your phone cannot even read your fingerprints. And entering your passcode becomes an issue because it cannot sense your palms. And you've already filled, your screen is already filled with sweat puddles. Now imagine the same situation. You cannot operate your smartphone. How about driving your own car? So this interferes with even your career choice. You cannot do engineering where you're working with electrical stuff, for instance, and you're sweating. You'll be a health hazard to yourself. My experiences with my family, it was different. And I always say this, I don't blame them because they didn't know. They didn't know that my sweat issue was actually a condition. So they would my parents would translate my sweat to fear. So they will always ask this question of, ni nini unaogopa? Why? What are you fearing? I remember at home, because I'm sweating on my hands and feet. Underarms started sweating way much later, but for the hands and feet, sigeweza kuvaa sandals, which is slippers. Sigeweza kuvaa sandals because I would literally slide off the sandals, and it used to aggravate my dad a lot. Constantly nilikuwa navaa viatu hata tukiwa kwa nyumba, a pair of socks and shoes. When I wake up in the morning, I'll only remove those shoes and socks in the evening. And my dad wondered, why is it that the rest are wearing their sandals and stuff, but you're not? But when I removed my shoes, the first thing he noticed, my feet were so soft that a small object was enough to make a very huge cut na ni bleed vibaya sana. You know, you're supposed to have that action between your feet and the ground, what they call the earth. There is that relationship because it, in a way, it strengthens your feet and it also improves mobility. But you see, for me, I'm actually causing harm to myself because I'm hiding my sweat. For him, he wants me to learn mobility, whether I'm wearing the sandals or even walking barefoot around the house or around the compound. It actually improves mobility, and it's usually recommended even by doctors. But for me, I'm wearing shoes. And for the period of time I kept doing that, it actually messed up my toes, my vidole za miguu, especially the bigger ones. Zilianza kumea, zilianza kucurve. And this is because I'm constantly wearing shoes, and that is what really aggravated my dad to a point where he even started hiding some of those shoes and forced me to wear sandals. And by doing that, actually, now my feet, my toenails zikaanza kuform vizuri because zimeanza kucurve kabisa, and it wasn't good. Nikiendelea hivyo. In nursery school, I was interactive, but also I limited myself because of, so you know those school children games of holding hands, making a circle, and they used to react to my sweat. And children are innocent. So they will say, nani anatoa maji kwa mkono. And then now, I'm in a nursery school. It's actually a Catholic school. So the sister would wonder, hey, what's going on? Hii ni Saint Monica ya Nakuru. So wanakuja wanashinda, huyu ametoa maji wapi? So they will ask me, umetoa maji wapi? For me, I don't even know how to explain to them, because even if I tell them I sweat, I don't know how they're going to react. And then so unapata pale unachuna, unaambia go dry your hands. I'm like, do they know if I go and dry, I'll still come back here and it's going to be worse? So I'll go and do whatever they've asked. Then nikirudi now I change. I go to another, ninaenda to, kwa hiyo circle I find a different person. Ule mwenye naona at least huyu hawezi akanisema. Unashika huyo munaenda hivyo, mtu ashakusema. And then sasa they think, okay, are you playing with us? What is this that you're doing? And then when with hyperhidrosis, and this is something even utaelewa tu, ni when you're being bombarded with questions over and over, it gets to a point where you don't want to answer. You let people be. Where vile utafikiria, let that be your truth. Because if I try to tell you, you won't understand. Doing homework was an uphill task for me. Especially when now we started writing using ink. I had to come up with solutions now, the coping mechanisms. How do I make sure that I'm able to do my homework na nisiharibu when writing using ink? So I would use my handkerchief and place it on my exercise book. This was the only way, so that when I rest my palm, it's soaking down the sweat now. The more I write, as I write now, I pull the handkerchief lower. I lower the handkerchief to enable me now to continue filling the answers or whatever, the notes that I'm taking. So once I'm done with the first page, next tunaendelea hivyo. When I feel the sweat, the handkerchief now it's getting soaked with the sweat, I fold it, one fold. And then naendelea hivyo until ile time yenye ndamaliza kutake notes. The first handkerchief, it's already filled with sweat, now I take another one. And I did a good job of trying to camouflage my sweat from the rest. I never wanted anyone to notice, because I don't like those questions. I didn't like those questions of why are you sweating, why this, why that. But whenever we had to engage in any school activity, now that's where I used to get the biggest challenge, because now I can't hide the sweat. And the more you age, the more now people are very good with the words. People will say some very, very, very nasty things. And I didn't even participate in any of these choir, kulikuwa na hizo symposiums, the choir sessions. I really wanted to join the choir, but nikaona sitawezana nayo because of my sweat issues. When ikifika kwa sports, I wasn't really much of a sports person, right? But choir is what I really wanted to join. But next to it was agriculture, farming. I found peace in farming. Niliona farming at least, because nikishika jembe nikifanya nini hakuna mtu ana concentrate hapo. Interactions with the opposite sex now in high school was also, it was an hindrance kwangu, because nilikuwa naona if they notice my sweat, that would be the first thing they will notice. And you know those two romantic gestures, you want to hold hands with someone. You can't hold hands when you're dripping with sweat. So hata ikifika hapo, whenever I'll try, there are times I'll even talk myself out of it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. And there was a certain cyber cafe in town, in Nakuru town hapo, next to the mosque. There's a building there. There was a cyber cafe. So I went there and I started doing my research. I'm just doing my normal research. What is next for me? What is the next module for graphic design? And that is when I spotted a certain college here in Nairobi. Ilikuwa inaitwa Shangtao. Inaitwa Shangtao actually. It's well known. Hawakukuwa penye wako at the moment. They were somewhere along Moi Avenue. I just saw a very quick, I saw a classified, because where I was doing, once I was done browsing, kulikuwa na gazeti. I flipped through different pages and then I spotted it. That day on my way back home, my sister was watching the Tyra Banks show. See, up to then, I don't even know that what I have is a condition that has a name. I went home, my younger sister Elizabeth was watching Tyra Banks. Nimeingia tu hivi, guess what ninaona kwa screen? A 14-year-old who wants to go to the prom but cannot go to the prom because of excessive sweating. She sweats on her hands and feet and underarms. I'm like, wait a minute. Finally, now I'm able to see someone with the same issue. The difference is, this is not a Kenyan, it's an American. But either way, it's a win for me. I was seated at the edge, on the edge, very edge, a couch, watching, glued on the screen, listening to her. Every experience mirrored exactly with mine. She was being picked on in high school, being summoned by teachers, being made fun of. So I'm interested. And then now, what Tyra used to do, once ameleta mgeni, they used to do a video to highlight the story, and then they bring the guest. So once the guest is there was a certain doctor, a surgical something. That is where now I got the name hyperhidrosis. Because the doctor said the condition that she has is hyperhidrosis. Apparently over 3 million Americans suffer with excessive sweating. I'm like, okay. So it has a name, and there's a number of people who suffer from this condition. Okay, hyperhidrosis. And what are the treatment options? So the only treatment options he mentioned, he talked of topical treatments, but he didn't explain what topical were. So I'm like, oh, so there's a treatment called topical treatment. Okay, topical treatments. Nikaandika chini, and Botox injection. And Tyra offered to pay for the young lady's treatment so that she can attend the prom. So she offered to pay for Botox. And the doctor he explained that she had to get a total of 60 injections. So 30 on the left-hand side, underarm, and the same 30. So for the show, he only did a few, like five on the show. So he even explained how the procedure is being done. You're not just injecting anything. It has to be under the base of the skin. There is a way it's supposed to be done. So I wrote everything down. Me, I was in class that day. I wasn't just watching Tyra. This is Tyra Banks University. I'm there with my notepad. As soon as the show was done, the following day, I had to ask my mom for money. I need to go to the cyber so that I can go and research, which I did. The results I'm getting, I'm only seeing Americans. I'm seeing a lot of white people, but I'm not looking at anyone that I can resonate with. Sioni Mkenya ama Mwafrika kama mimi. Ndo nika get the idea of what if I start talking about this thing? And then I'm like, but if I do it, how will people look at me? How will my friends and the people around me? Hiyo woga, that fear is what talked me out of it several times. Anytime I'm so sure I'm going to talk about this, ninaacha. Or when mkikosana na mtu and then that person points out or uses your sweat issue to insult you. Now sasa hiyo ndo inanitupa deep into, you know, the stress of my sweat. Why me? That question of why me? And it was so bad because even going to church was an issue. Nona that pastor's moment of, can you hold hands together, we pray. Hey, my friend, there was a time, I won't mention the church, tukame ushikane mikono hivyo, I was sweating and I knew this one, hii hakuna mahali ndahepa nayo. The one on my right was a gentleman and on the left was a lady. And the moment it was done, the gentleman on the right alitoa handkerchief akapanguza mikono yake, alafu akachukua sanitizer. Then alitoa sanitizer ya Dettol kapaka kwa mkono yake. I didn't even want to look at the one on the right. Nilitoka tu mwenyewe, nikaenda tu. And I felt so horrible. Nilikuwa nimejoin choir and I think hiyo ndo one of the things zenye zilifanya nikatoka kwa choir church sababu hiyo story na my sweat was just getting in the way. And then as I continue to age, now it's when my underarms zikaanza kusweat, because typically that's what happens. Underarms zinaanza kusweat at puberty, mostly at the age of when you're around 15 hapo, ama from age of 20 kwenda mbele. Hiyo ndio ilifanya nikaanzaga kama ni church, nikienda ikifika hiyo part ya prayers, me I'm out because of the experiences that I used to get. Interaction ilikuwa ngumu. You have to think fast. You see, for me, before ni salimia mtu, nimefikiria sana. From the point yenye nimetoa mkono, we shake hands, na tuachane ama tumeongea na tuachane, nimefikiria sana. Reaction yake itakuwaje? Unaweza salimia mtu sikia amekwambia, na wewe, na kuna joto na nini, mbona mkono yako ina sweat? Ama kuna baridi. Because when it's cold, your hands typically become cold. You freeze out. All the places where you sweat, whether ni mikono, underarms na miguu, they all freeze. So kama mwezi wa 7 hapo, ukisweat, na kuna hiyo baridi huu una freeze. Sasa niko in that period of discovery, I'm trying to interact with the ladies, but hizi challenges ziko sana. How do I shake hands with them? And when they notice, kwanza when they notice you have sweaty palms, maswali zinaanza. Why mbona una sweat? Is there something that happened at home? Me, I think, kwanza kuna mwingine aliniambia, you know the reason why you sweat? I asked around and my parents told me they used to have a neighbor who alirogwa, so that's why such things happen. You should go and uulize if such a situation has happened from back at home. It's challenging for someone with excessive sweating to pursue a romantic relationship. You think about it a lot. And there are those who don't even speak to the people that they are pursuing or to their significant other. They don't talk about their sweat issues because hawataki, they don't want to gross them out. Now you see, now on the other side, that person is receiving you from a different perspective. It is always challenging. And at the time, I didn't even see the need to explain my sweat issue because in high school, sijui hata inaitwa nini. So how will I even explain to this person? No, it was tough, but I had to push through high school with the challenge and the notion of I may not be in a relationship. Ilibidi tu nimeface hivyo. The journey of hyperhidrosis awareness started way back in May. It was May 13th, 2017. And this is after procrastinating for all those years. I'm going to start an awareness and then I'm like, no, I don't think I'm ready. But in 2017 May, and May is very significant because apart from being my birthday month, it's very significant because I made the biggest milestone in terms of awareness in May. The journey started from there. So I'm sharing my videos with my friends, my former colleagues. They have all liked the page, but there is one thing. I'm not getting any response from people with hyperhidrosis. Mwalimu Rachel, she used to do voiceovers. We used to conduct voiceovers for pay TV, for promos. And Mwalimu Rachel was one of our suppliers. So we would meet in studios, and I used to push Mwalimu Rachel because she can do both English and Swahili voiceovers very well. At the time, she used to work for Homeboys Radio. I would listen to, alikuwa na hiyo class yake, so nilikuwa naenda nasikiza hiyo show yake, and I shared with her, hey, Mwalimu Rachel, I've launched this initiative, I have this condition. She didn't even know. Martin, you're lying. She used to call Mato, you're lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. I explained to her everything. I've started this initiative because I believe there are many people out there with this condition, but they don't know and they are afraid. And she told me, okay, so how do you want me to help you? I want you to use your audience. You have your followers on Facebook page or across your social media platforms. They listen to you. Out of all those who listen to you, there are those who have this issue, or they know someone with a sweat issue. And by chance, it was her last day at Homeboys Radio. While I was listening to her class, she said it, and today class is my last time. But I want you to do something for me. I want you to go to Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya. This is a friend of mine by the name of Martin. He has started this initiative. If you have sweat issues, that is the place to go. Utapata usaidizi. Me that day, I had posted one video with 2 views. I saw 100 views. I felt like I'm in heaven. With people now sharing, I have a friend, I have a family member. But you see, bado sijapata one-on-one, mtu ananiambia niko na issue. So I'm looking at it. And then during lunch hour, I just picked my phone nikaenda kwa parking. I did a video. I'm like, I know there is someone out there with hyperhidrosis. There is a Kenyan there with sweat issues. Sio mimi peke yangu. Najua mko hapo. Please reach out. There is Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya. But if you don't want to go through the platform, reach out to me. Who was the first person to reach out? Evelyn Juma. Same Evelyn Juma who sat here. Back then, Evelyn was going through a lot with hyperhidrosis. So when she reached out, she sent an inbox message on Facebook. And the first thing was, are you Kenyan? I'm there. I'm like, what do you mean? The reason why I'm asking is because me, for the longest time, I've never come across anyone with excessive sweating. So that's why I need to ask if you're Kenyan, because maybe probably ulikuja huku. I'm like, hey, this one is kiodo frustrating. But yes, I'm Kenyan. I have this issue, and that's why I'm pushing on awareness. So for her, she was very skeptical. Some of these groups that exist online, wanakoga wamefungua hapo for some different reasons. So here I am, I'm talking about an issue that no one talks about. And I told her, yes, it's an initiative, it's there, my name is Martin, I have this condition. Yeah, and that's how I started talking to her, and she started opening up. I'm going through so much. I've even quit my job. That one caught my attention. Why would you quit your job? Then I realized, not only am I providing solutions, first of all, awareness, because now I'm teaching them. I started doing videos teaching people about sweat, and I'll share the YouTube link to our YouTube channel on Facebook. Hapo hata sijaingia Instagram, just Facebook. So people are learning sweat. Through the knowledge, I'm getting the knowledge, channeling it through a video and teaching them. They receive the teaching, they apply it into their lives. So I'm sharing the same information with Evelyn, and I'm telling her, you don't have to quit in life, because it's not just a job only you're quitting, you're actually quitting on yourself, you're quitting on life. What if we go through this direction? We try treatments, we try coping mechanisms, but the most important is what? Emotional health. Because she was frustrated and going through so much. And I also realized I've also become a counselor. So I'm doubling in on all the duties. With Evelyn, my former colleague then, she used to work at K24. She put in a good word for me in one of the producers, and we landed an interview. That was the first TV interview I ever did on hyperhidrosis. It was myself, Dr. Kamori, and Melissa, who also suffers from excessive sweating. Now, that was the second person nimepata with hyperhidrosis. We were there, but we were cut short. And during that small window of that interview, I talked about the awareness campaign. After the interview, imagine sikusikia vibaya. Me, I was so happy. Even if it was cut short, I was so happy that for those 3 minutes, kuna mtu amewatch. Because there were only 2 stations. So kuna mtu amewatch, and someone will reach out. And true to the word, hiyo siku niliingia kwa cab, hadi nilipitishwa pale nilikuwa ninaishi, because I was busy replying to people. I had to pay extra to the cab guy ndo anifikishe home. It was on a Friday. I was there talking about hyperhidrosis. First of all, they did a feature, and then I went, the feature is what they used for during the prime time news, that section. I went home. I slept at 2 a.m. in the morning, replying to people, responding. Oh, I had given up in life. People don't even believe me. Even my own parents wako wanaamini nikiwaambia this is a serious issue. So I'm there replying to people. I'm giving them advice, solutions, and we don't have any solutions in the country. Nimeangalia hakuna ile solution yenye iko, it cannot fit all of us. But I'm there giving them solutions. Oh, we have this topical treatment. We'll have it in the country. I don't even know how. I've never shipped anything. But here I'm operating by faith. We will do this, we will do that. I responded to, and there were like four young adults who were contemplating suicide up until they saw me for those 5 minutes on TV. So I knew now work has started for me. So every day I'm getting 2 or 3 people. And then now we transited to, can we form a group? We need a WhatsApp group where we can invite people. I formed the group and I used that link now to send to people to join. And throughout this process, hapo ndo una learn, you know, awareness alone, yes, it has its part. Kuna ile part ina play, but it is the solution part. So awareness without this other part, awareness without solutions is just awareness. So here I'm learning there is a whole misdiagnosis that is happening. So again, this prompts me to go back deep into research. Research means learning. And the more I learn, the more I'm sharing these solutions, the more I'm helping these guys. So they're not going out, or rather they're not just consulting any doctor, they're now looking for professionals. And in the process, ikaanza kuleta shida with some of these professionals. To them, it's like I'm getting ninaiba clients wow. Because remember, with this condition, if you don't know anything about sweat, and then you happen to consult the wrong practitioner, you will be the cash cow and the guinea pig. Watajaribu kila kitu on you, and you'll end up spending a fortune. I've really helped a lot of people, especially now when we made the transition from Hyperhidrosis Initiative to Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya. I had to do the registration in August through September. I had to go through that process of registration. Now we have a functional organization. Now it's putting up a team. I had a board of 7 people, 7 board members. Wacha ifike place ya kuitisha watu pesa. We need money to finish the registration. Niliona watu wakileft. Nikabaki peke yangu. And then I was joined with 2 others. One was my friend I had known for close to 9 years, and a registered nurse who alikuwa anafanya kazi MPSHA. So nikasema okay, tumebaki na watatu. I asked the 3, are you ready for this work? Because it's tough. It's tough. We are pioneering something that has never been done before. You've never seen people talk about sweat issues or sweat treatments. So this is a road which is tough, but it's worth it. When you get into the space of leadership, you really need to prepare yourself. Ndo vitu zisikusurprise. And one of the things, and I will even put it as an advice, don't ever put your friend as a director, or put your friend in your business because you believe that with the friendship there is trust. I'm here struggling with HAK because now we don't have any source of funding. We are still new. You don't expect someone to invest a certain amount. You guys are new. There are no statistics. You only have the small number of people that have reached out. And for someone to like really fund you, they look at some very concrete information, including empirical data. They need medical research. They need to even talk to doctors. There are things they look for. I was ready for it. I knew I had to invest in HAK, meaning I have to use even my own resources to enable the rollout programs, the awareness activities, and all these other solutions which I want to make available. So my friend ule nilimweka pale as the head of business, because now I can do everything. If we need to ship these topical treatments, now that is your responsibility, because I had everything all planned out. So when I have my board, whatever research or any duty that I allocate to them, they already have it all set. Si ati wanarudi kufanya from the ground. They already have, it's only to build on top of what I've given them. There is an advocate for hyperhidrosis known as Maria Thomas. She even wrote, she writes blogs on excessive sweating. She's in the US. She blogged about my story. And on her website, I saw the people that support her, and one of the brands there, it's known as Cape. Cape, they make clinical prescription strength antiperspirants and lotions, which you can apply on your palms, your feet, your underarms, and other areas. Remember, with hyperhidrosis, it's not only the hands and the feet and the underarms that sweat excessively. There are people who sweat on areas where they're too embarrassed to talk about. And this I'm referring to Hexel's hyperhidrosis, where you sweat on your groin and your bum, huku kwa trunk. Have you ever seen someone, mtu amesweat, unaweza dhani amejikojolea, hata akivaa jeans, ana sweat through the jeans. That is also a form of hyperhidrosis that is there. And many people actually suffer from it. I saw the Cape guys. I asked Maria Thomas, can you introduce me to Cape? And she told me, if you write an email to them and you copy me, that is already an introduction, which I did. They responded, and I told them, we are interested to get topical treatments, to have your brand in the country for the first time. So the little money I had at the time, I gave this guy to go and continue now with the process, because I've already introduced him. Tuseme supplier hakulipwa. And it started bringing a back and forth, because I'm telling them, you've been paid. On this other side, they even show me the last email they received from my other director. On April 26th of 2019, that was the last time I saw him. It was actually during my dad's anniversary, ndo alienda missing. Akienda missing, alienda na, he disappeared without having paid the Cape guys, and they had even sent an invoice, everything. And that wasn't a good look, because I'm dealing with these people for the first time, and the picture that I've already displayed, I'm untrustworthy. And you see, now that's not me, it's my director. I can't tell them that, oh, you know, the head of business was the one who did this. No, I had to take full accountability and responsibility for all that action. He disappeared. I've never heard from him. I went back and I checked how much is left on my savings. I took whatever was in my savings plus my salary for May. And I bought topical treatments, Cape, in bulk, wholesale. The whole thing plus shipping to the country costed me around 120,000. That whole month I was broke, but I said I had to do it. They were shipped in the country. I spoke to my accountant, whom I really thank God for Beatrice. And I promised her that you're going to have that office with your name there, CFO, and it's going to happen. And now the current procurement manager, Jackie, they have been really instrumental in helping HAK. I talked to her and we sat down, we looked at the total cost and how HAK can be profitable, because now we are not funded. How can this be funding our activities, and how can we be able to bring more? Cape was the first product we brought in Kenya in 2019. And the moment ilifika hivi, we had over 100 people buying Cape for hands, feet, for underarms. And now that prompted us now to even bring more brands. So we started bringing, with the money we get now, for instance, if Justus buys Cape for hands, Justus has not just bought Cape, Justus amenunua sweat block. So I'm able to bring like 3 packs of sweat block. I'm able now to even bring, with the money I get, I can bring like another 3 facial gel for excessive sweating of the face. I'm able now to bring different brands. Siezi leta in bulk because it requires a lot of money. But now with this, I'm bringing 3, I'm bringing 2. So each focal area is covered. Once they buy, that money goes back to buy more. That is how I've been pushing. And it is through the awareness I was able to even connect with Dr. Hashim. He is a certified dermatologist, currently at Aga Khan. We met in 2020 during the height of Corona. The first awareness we did in 2018, the cycling event, and that is what marked the introduction of HAK. In 2019, before I even speak about 2020, the 2020 awareness campaign was Nairobi edition. We cycled through the Southern Bypass all the way to Uhuru Park, which was our starting point. And we commemorated that event because we lost one of our own. Her name is Cynthia. She committed suicide. It was tough for me because Cynthia had called me the same year around March. We talked and she explained to me how tough excessive sweating has been for her, and on top of that she has anxiety issues. We used to talk daily, and I'm telling you, Cynthia started changing because I was working with her. The mantra for HAK is we are in this together. It's a sweat relationship. We work together. And she was really improving. So I don't know what happened down the line where she became withdrawn. She wasn't answering any phone calls. And how I learned about her death was through a blog. I saw her best friend writing. Her best friend penned down a very emotional blog about the loss of her friend. And then one of my former colleagues sent me a photo of her telling me, what you're doing is a great job, but one of the people living with this condition has just died. It really threw me off. And that is what now really pushed me deep into not just awareness, but understanding the people living with hyperhidrosis, where they're coming from, their state of mind, wako aje. Hii sweat imewapeleka paka wapi? Into which levels, the deepest levels of where this sweat has really pushed them. So the first thing with HAK, it's never about chukua hii brand itakusaidia. It's not the brand first, it's not the money first. It's the client first. Uko aje? How is everything? And the more I started pushing that, from the incident, from Cynthia's death, hata ko pale kwa hiyo awareness campaign hiyo ya 2019 ikianza, tunaanza na hiyo nini yake. That is the intro montage we start with. From her, I started receiving phone calls from university students, from even married couples who have contemplated suicide. I started meeting with them in person. Tunamit na mtu tao. We sit down, we talk. Hata kama ni mimi ndamnunulia kahawa or something, we sit down. And the purpose is, once we live here, we don't live here the same.